Very good evening to one and all present here. So I welcome you to this CSE webinar series brought to you by Kingmakers IAS Academy. So I'm Jashwant Radhakrishnan presenting here. I'm the faculty of economics and polity here. So and today I'm here for anthropology optional orientation, right? So today we'll be seeing what is anthropology optional and what is the subject deals about. And I would also be discussing the course plan of the subject and what is going to be there for the next few months. So we'll be discussing it completely so that you'll get a clear insight of what is anthropology optional and what it is and all. So before going to that, and I would just like to mention that the courses are open for admission for UPSC CSE prelims comes mains integrated, and UPSC for GS separate module, CSAT or prelims GS or GS plus CSAT or test batch is also available for all these. And there is a separate module for GS SA, GS 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can take a combined module for all of these. And these many optionals are also open so that the admission is running on. So you can just subscribe yourself to these courses and start your preparation with Kingmakers IAS Academy. So these are the upcoming topics of the webinar series. So tomorrow it will be 21st June 2020 by 10 a.m. You'll be having 100 days strategy to unleash prelims 2020. So you'll be having nearly 100 days for October 4th, I suppose, the prelims. So you'll be having the 100-day strategy will be discussed, and how to approach UPSC civil service examination for Hindi medium students. So the classes will be in Hindi actually. So that will be on 25th June 2020 at 10 a.m. right? And then we are going for about geography optional orientation. That is on sorry for this guy. So it is 26th June. 26th June 2020 at 10 a.m. So just register yourself for all those courses. So, and a lot about to come. So I welcome you all again, once again, for this civil service examination webinar series. And this is going to be the anthropology orientation, optional orientation. So this is the thing which you can see that this image, wherever you searched anthropology in any kind of Google, you could see this particular image that some kind of monkey is being transferred to a man in a evolutionary stage. So this diagram which we are going to see that anthropology orientation. So a lot of people get confused. So we are going to study about humans, and we are going to study about the evolution of humans and how he came from monkey to a man, and now we call him as the Homo sapien. Okay, so all confused that, but anthropology is much more than this, guys. So what we are going to see is we are going to cover the cultural development around the world. So what you can see here is just a second, guys. Hello. Class listening, sir. I'll get it. Our yeah. Sorry, guys. So it continues. So what we are going to see is the cultural development across the world, right? We have different types of cultures across the world and inside our country itself. So we are going to see how these cultures evolved and how these cultures are there and why these cultures came out. And this development of this culture is because of certain reasons, and we are going to explore those kind of reasons and why these kind of cultures are still present there in this world. So we are going to discuss about it in detail. So this is our agenda. So I would start the class by defining you what is anthropology. So, and then the design of the UPSC syllabus and how we are going to approach this towards the class split up, and how we are going to take the classes in the defined set of syllabus. And I've also attached these test schedule here. And I would also tell you about what makes anthropology so special among all others. And we are going to see a few random UPSC prelims, sorry, UPSC mains questions. And one day, I'm also going to tell about the certain things why you should not take anthropology optional. So I'm going to discuss it holistically. So a step back, but still it is worth giving short, you'll understand. So, and I will also speak about the course details. So this is the thing which we're going to discuss today. So let's enter into it. So first one, what is anthropology? So I would like to hear it from you guys first. So what did you think? What is anthropology mean? Just type and send me. So what do you infer from this word anthropology? Study of humans. Okay, right? It's correct. Study about humans. Study about evolution of human beings. Okay. Study of humans and this culture. Okay. Study of humans and resources. Okay, I wouldn't go for this thing resources. Okay, any other answer? Study of human behavior. That's great. That's good. Okay, let me go to my explanation again. So first, anthropology. So this word anthropology has been derived from, just a second. Yeah, this word has been derived from the Greek word that is anthropos. Okay, anthropos, that means it is human, and logy, which means study of it. As you guys told, it is the study of human. So that doesn't mean we are going to study about them biologically or physically. It is not just ending to that. We are having a holistic study of human. So that is what it is the more peculiar characteristic and interesting feature of anthropology. We are going to study about the complete nature of human, in which it is going to be a kind of scientific study of humanity also, right? So it is the study of everything and anything that makes us human. So a human is a person who is having a certain defined set of qualities. So we are going to explore why human is like this and what makes him to give these set of qualities. So while you define a human, you would tell these certain are the characteristic features of human, but there are certain reasons behind these characteristic features, and those reasons have been explored by a lot of anthropologists. And according to our UPSC syllabus, we are still again classifying it, and we are going to it deeply. So it is going to be an insightful exploration of humans' biological as well as cultural diversity in regard to time and space. We are not restricting human as of today's 21st century. So we are going to dig in from the primeval period. So how this primeval period's culture is still influencing us today. So being a multifarious society in India, so we people also follow certain culture, which is we inherited from our ancestors. And these certain culture, even that starts, I could give you an example that even in the beginning of this corona issue and the lockdown period, so a lot of people were telling that you will have to wash your hands and wash your legs before you enter into a house when you come from outside. So this is a certain thing of example of a culture which I would tell. Our life is completely defined and enclosed and connected with culture. So we are going to explore what are these types of culture and how these cultures evolved, and what makes us human and what are the reasons behind it. So we are going to explore it completely. And one more thing which we are going to do is we are also going to find similarities and differences between the human variation in the world, in and around the world. We're going to say it, and why this kind of people are like this and why we are like this. So what makes the similarity and what is the reason between that, and we are going to quote them in this. So this is a brief introduction which I would call about the anthropology. So now I would like to introduce you guys to one such examples which you are going to see. So this word Yanamamus or Yanamamis or Yanamamos or Yanamamas, so we can call anything. So they are these particular tribal people. So how beautiful they are, right? So they are living in Brazil and Venezuela in the Amazon forests. So we are going to explore these kinds of tribal people who are our primeval people. So when I showed you that the picture in the first slide, what is anthropology orientation, I have seen this evolution. In this evolution, you would come to understand in anthropology that today's human has been one period's tribe. So this tribe has evolved into a today's cultural human, and today we have become a digital human. So which we are having classes through online itself today. So this transition, we are just going to see about it. We are going to explore a lot of different types of tribes, and we are going to see their culture and what kind of nature do they have. So I'm just giving a brief intro about this particular tribe, Yanomama's. Okay, so they live in a dense, impenetrable canopy without light in the Amazon forest, and they are, I'm sorry for this, and they practice gardening, foraging, and fishing even today in this 21st century. You're going to be surprised with a lot of people who have got kind of economy they still follow and what kind of belief they have. So they live in a living space which is called as Shabano. So I would show you, this is the Shabano. So this is the place which I was speaking about. It's a dense forest with impenetrable canopy and even without light. So this is the Shabano. So this is the place, one of the place which the tribes live. They live under a common roof. So this is the common roof which is called as Shabano. So this is their living area. So and they do this gardening, foraging, and fishing. And they think the complete universe is a four-layered structure. And that four-layered structure is something which is they call it which is above the sky. So the sky is the third structure. They call it as above the sky is the first layer. The third one is the earth, which they live on, is called as the third one, and another one is the beneath the earth. So this is their life structure, which they have a belief that these are the gods for them. So they pray with all this, they live with the nature. So you can see that this particular piercing is followed by these people. So to depict, they live along with the nature. So they always have a flower in their ears. So that makes them connected with their nature. And this is because of a lot of reasons. So I've just cut short on of these. So I've shown you an international example. And let me come to the Indian example. So these are the Dongriya cones. So these people live in the Odisha district, scattered around the western part of India, sorry, eastern part of India. So they are scattered maximum in the Rayagada and Koraput districts of Odisha. So they call themselves by Jarniyas. So they live by these streams. So that means Jarniya means there is a river. So this is the hill. So there is a river coming from the hill, and these people have their settlements over there. So they call themselves as the Jarniya people as they live by these streams. So their lifestyle is completely different from our lifestyle. See, today the world is moving towards materialistic and more sophisticated lifestyle. But these people think their lifestyle is to protect a sacred mountain, which is called as the Niyamagari Hills. So this is the Niyamagari Hills. So all these settlements are here. So they have a village type of settlement here. So these are the one of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups in India, PVTGs in India. So they live their lives surrounded by these structures, and they think this mountain's top is their god, and their lifetime duty is to protect that particular mountain from any other devastation. So these tribes are world-known tribes because of the Vedanta issue. Okay, the Vedanta mining issue. So we'll be speaking about all these in detail in our classes. So they follow Podu. Podu is nothing but shifting cultivation. So you can see the hills over here. So it is all blackened, few areas are blackened. It is completely because of the shifting cultivation, right? So the word which they use is called as the Podu or Podu, okay? So these type of societies which you are going to see, it's going to be interesting, and these types of society, we are going to explore them and about their beliefs and thoughts. So one more belief of them is if you breach any kind of rules, it will definitely invite the wrath of their ancestors. That means it would invite the angry of their ancestors, and those ancestors will show them by burning the forests, or there may be floods, or there may be any kind of devastation, which these people think still it is because of their ancestors' angriness because of their behavior. So this kind of people still get connected with the tribal areas and still get connected with their nature and still have the primeval technologies. And we are going to explore those kind of technology and how it has synced it with today's technology here. So this is what we are going to see here. And one more question here. I'm just going to show you a sample of class, which is a prelude to socio-cultural anthropology. So this is a question I would put in front of you. What is the difference between man and a woman? So just try to explain. What is the difference between man and a woman? Come on, guys. I'm expecting something. Okay. Just a second. Okay, right. I have two answers, three answers. Everything is about physiological or physical difference. Okay. Okay, physical difference. Good. I got a good answer here. Behavior. Very nice answer. Uh, Karan Kumar, I would answer your question at the last. So, okay, give me an example for physical or behavioral, except the reproductive organs. What is the physical difference? What is the behavioral difference? Okay, I got one question. Okay, facial hair. Next. Okay, good one. Muscle growth. Good, good, good. Okay, that's enough. Let's go for the behavioral difference. Voice, great. Voice. Vocal cord. Okay, good. Let's come to the behavioral difference. One behavioral difference between man and women. Domineering and docile. Okay. Shyness, right? Man will be hard compared to women. Okay, fine. Sports, right? There is no behavioral difference until they get educated. Oh no. Okay, chromosomes, you're getting deeper into it. Okay. Okay, good. Aggressiveness. Good, good. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Let me ask you one more question. Why there is more muscle growth in man comparatively, and comparatively, there is more fat growth in women? Okay, good answer. One is testosterone. My question is, why does only man has testosterone? Why not women? You're giving an answer. It is a hormone. So it is because of this, the characteristic feature of man is because of testosterone. Why? Because of their work and evolution. Yeah, you've come here. It's a good part. You've touched my concept. So what happened in this evolution process, making man to have a certain physical features and female to have a certain physical features? So this is how we represent man, and this is how we represent women. Okay, what do you think before all these technology came in? What were their primary duty? What is the primary duty of being a human? Okay, a lot of hormone kind of answers are coming. Farming, okay. I mean evolutionary duty. Hunting, farming, okay. I mean, what is the evolutionary duty of being a human? Fight for survival, survivability, okay. Fine. One more. That's not the answer which I'm looking for. Yeah, you got it. Krishna Kumar has said it. It is this. It is reproduction. So before all these technology and reproduction bring out their next generation, this was the primary duty of all these species in this world. Okay, if you're being a living thing, so that particular living thing has to procreate for the future to make its generation alive. So who has more part in this reproduction? It's either a male or a female. Yeah, obviously, yeah, everybody is giving the answer. It is female. Her part is more. What kind of characteristic is required to become a female to have a better reproduction? One, I would tell patience. Two, after the birth of the child, I would tell it is caring. Do you agree? So, okay, yeah, I would come to that later. Right? So one is patience and caring. See, once the reproductive process has been taken place, there are a lot of offsprings, and these offsprings is been completely taken care by the mother at the maximum, and the duty of this father is to search for something for food. To be surviving, you should have energy in your body. For that, the duty of the father or the male was to search for the food. So while this evolution takes place and these duties are being division of labor is being taking place all over. So because of this concept of division of labor, this feature is being inherited in the females. The females have this caring type. While you compare both male and female, the female would be more caring. The female would have more patience, but the man would have more muscle growth. The man would be more aggressive, right? So all these characters are inherited because of their primary duty. So this is what we can conclude as an anthropological evidence. So this is what we are going to do in anthropology. Why these people are having these kind of differences? Why this particular man has this kind of nature? Why it is bringing to this particular state of being? So all this we are going to explore. So this is a pretty small example from the unit which I we called as gender. Okay, so a small example why this human is like this and why the male is like this and the female is like this. So we are going to search on the factors which have been in the evolution. See, so this is what if this is the historical time frame and the chronological order, and we are still here today. So if this is the place we are here today, so I would tell that anthropology is about to deal with all these evolution of the humans in this particular period. So this is what we are going to see here, right? So in this particular space, we are going to explore how this human got all these characteristics and what made him to get all these characteristics. And this is what we are going to explore it, right? So this is what we are going to see about anthropology. So next, I am jumping into the space where we are going to see about the syllabus. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so this is what the syllabus is comprised of. So the part is classified into first physical anthropology, next sociocultural anthropology, then archaeological anthropology, and general anthropology, Indian anthropology, and tribal anthropology. So we can classify this into six parts, but all these six parts does not have equal set of syllabus, in which I've arranged it. This is physical part will be more. Second, it comes the social part, and third, I would tell it would come to this Indian anthropology. So this is more here, and fourth will be tribal. Fifth is general. Sixth is archaeology. This is how the chunk of syllabus has been defined. So this is my class split up. So this is the place. This is how we are going to cover the classes. Uh, this is in the same way I'm going to explain you the syllabus. So the syllabus will be of around 4 pages, but do not worry. The syllabus, one thing with regarding anthropology is the syllabus is completely defined. It is an exclusive and elaborate syllabus, and you would not get any kind of thing which is outside the syllabus. That we could guarantee. Any question which you see, it is completely from inside, and you will not be get surprised on the while you see the question paper. So first, the syllabus is starting by defining what is anthro. So meaning, scope and development of anthropology we'll be seeing in the first unit. So this unit is 1.1, and we will be taking around 2 hours to do this. So this is the hours to complete this. Okay. So this is totally, will take 2 hours to go with that. And second, we are going to discuss anthropology with other disciplines, such as how it is different from social sciences or behavioral sciences, life sciences, medical and earth sciences, humanities. We're going to discuss about that, how anthro is different from others. And then we are going to see the 4 main branches of anthropology. One is socio-cultural, second biological, third is archaeological, fourth is linguistic anthropology. So all of that we are going to see that. So all of these, this is going to be for 2 hours and this is for 2. And next, here is how the physical anthropology part is going to start. Okay, so we are going to see about the cultural and biological factors of human evolution. So 4 theories of organic evolution we'll be seeing: pre-Darwin, Darwin, and post-Darwin, and also the synthetic theory of evolution, and the brief terms and concepts in evolutionary biology: Dole's rule, Scopes rule, Ross rule, and all these are, every word is just around 1 page notes. That's it. It's not going to be a big science or rocket science which you're going to study. So this is the part where certain students from the biology background will have a easy part. So they would have seen that, okay, this is somewhat I've seen in the standard 10. So this is what requires, if you have studied biology till standard 10, so that level of knowledge is going to be applied here. Okay, so then we are going to compare with the primatology, that is what we called as the primate anthropology or primatology. So we're just going to compare us what makes us human, how did we bring human, and what is the difference between this human and certain types of primate. So we're going to see about the evolutionary trends of primate taxonomy, primate adaptations, and their behavior, and how it is related to human, and the tertiary and quaternary fossil primates, major primates, and all of this we are going to see at. So I'll be taking around 12 hours to complete this, and this unit I'll be taking around 8 hours to complete this. Okay. So next comes the 1.6. So this is the part where the phylogenetic status, characteristics, and geographical distribution of the following. We are going to see about certain the people who are before us, that is our relatives or our ancestors. As of now, we are all Homo sapiens, and before us, we had a lot of humans, which is we call it as Homo erectus. We have a lot of samples or the fossils in Africa, in Europe, which we call it as Homo erectus heidelbergensis, or Asia Homo erectus javanicus, Homo erectus pekinensis in China. Okay, so Neanderthal man. So this word you would be always seeing in your newspaper. So Neanderthal, like classic type and progressive type, Rhodesian man, Homo sapien. So this is the part is like Greek and Latin to a lot of people, right? When you hear it now, you will see this like this is like a Greek and Latin part, but believe me, this is the easiest part in anthropology, right? This is the most easiest part here. So you have a defined set of notes for this, and you need not explore a lot for this particular thing. So today, when you hear it, it will be definitely like Greek and Latin. It was for me also while I started my studies in anthro. So, but this is the most easiest part. So then we have entering into biological anthropology. This is the part which all the 6th standard students know this. What is a cell? What is the DNA structure? What is protein synthesis? What is chromosome cell division? So this particular part, we're just going to have for our class. We'll be explaining it in detail, what its function. And now we are entering into the archaeological part, right? So archaeological part comes here. What is the principles of prehistoric archaeology, and what is the chronology of the dating methods and all. So we are going to see the cultural evolutions of the Paleolithic period, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, Copper Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. So we are going to explore all these. So this archaeological things and how these people evolved in those particular period, we are going to see it. So this comprises the 8 units, first 8 units of anthro. So now we are going to see this socio-cultural anthropology. So this is the syllabus which is pretty common between sociology and anthropology. So you should know that sociology and anthropology are like brothers and sisters, or two sisters or two brothers, what you can tell. So they are both interrelated. See, sociology speaks about something which is today, what is happening today, and what are its applications. But anthropology speaks about what happened earlier, and you will have to apply this thing. And what happened earlier is one of the reasons which is happening for today. So this is what we're going to explore it. So here, these are the common chapters of both sociology and anthropology. We're going to see about what is culture, so what is the society, and why this concept of society came, concept of this character, this culture came. So we're going to explore all of that. So this is a pretty important topic, marriage. So what are the types of marriage in this world, and what happened, and what are the basic rules and laws of marriage? We're going to explore all of them. So all these part will be given with exclusive examples of tribes. So here we are going to deal about the primitive societies. So we are more dealing about the tribes here, right? So we'll be knowing about all the tribes around the world. We'll have a complete rotation or complete tour of the world here. So there comes the same. Next comes this concept of family. Why you need a family, and what is this? And next is the concept of kinship, kinhood, that is your relatives. That's what you call it as. So all this. So what are the principles of this? And we're going to see it in a detail. And I've classified all those classes over here, how many hours we're going to take the classes over here. So next comes this economic anthropology. So what is this economic organization? How this concept of economy came in? How this concept of money came into this world? And what made this? And earlier, this production is the only means of food. So you have to produce food. So what are the rules govern this production? How were the different kinds of people were there? And we are going to see the primeval production society, that how did they do, as we answered, hunting, what is gathering, what is fishing, what is fattening, what is pastoralism, horticulture, agriculture. We are going to discuss these tribes till today. They follow this as their primary occupation. So we are going to explore about them all. So this is what we are going to do, and also the effect of globalization around the economic system, or the indigenous economic system. In the same way, we are also going to see about how this political organization come into control, how this king evolved, how this concept of, so we'll be coming in order, how this band came, then into a tribe, then into a chiefdom, then into a kingdom, and how this state, concept of nation state, today we are living as a nation state. So how this tribal societies can cooperate with this nation state, all those things which we are going to see in this political anthropology. And then comes the important part of anthropology, is the religion. So how this concept of religion came. So is there a religion, or is there a religion a myth? So we're going to see about all of them, these things, and all these cultures of these primeval societies. They thought as this animism, animatism, fetishism, naturism, totemism, all of these types of religions. We are going to explore it. And how this magic and science. So science, this magic is what we explain it, certain things like black magic and all. So how this concept of magician, and how this concept came, and how this priests and shamanism worked out in the tribal societies. We are going to explore it in full detail. So, and there is also the very important crux part of anthropology, is the anthropological theories. Till now, I've been discussing about the economy, the concept of society, marriage, kinship, and polity, and religion, and all. All these concepts evolved in a period of time, and this evolution is because of this anthropological theories. So there were a lot of anthropologists who worked on with their own ideologies. For example, Taylor, Morgan, and Fraser thought a concept of classical evolutionism. So certain people thought it is because of historical particularism, and few people thought it is because of diffusionism. A concept evolved from diffusing from some other people in this world. So all these types of anthropological theories, we are going to see it. So all these different kinds of notions of these people, which is been pretty defined in the syllabus. So around we are going to see around exactly around 20 people. So 20 types of anthropologists we are going to see. We are going to explore about their work and what kind of findings they got it, and everything is going to be interesting for you guys. It's going to be having a different kinds of ideology, and this is how I split those class schedule for that. This will be separate. We'll have this class schedule. like this. So till the postmodernism in anthropology, how this concept of anthropology evolved. So we have this lot of theories. So these around 10 to 12 theories we'll be speaking about. So 12 theories with those people who supported that particular theory. So we are going to see all of them, right? And this part is a pretty uh, similar to the part in sociology, but in sociology you have just 5 to 6 thinkers, but here it is around 20 people. So the burden of studying them is less here. There, here we are just going to have a small notes on all of them. So every thinker is going to be around just like 2 to 3 pages, all of their works and all of their findings. We're just going to quote it. But how this thing is going to be helpful is, this is how you deeply understand anthropology. This is the most important unit, and this unit fetches you the lot of marks in your paper 1 as well as paper 2, right? So this is how we are going to interlink them. This 6th unit will be interlinked with all those units from 2 to 8, right? So we'll be seeing other things here. So this is the linguistic anthropology, how this language came on, how these initial sounds came. So what made them to have this kind of noise, and how this languages came. So all this origin and characteristics of a language, we're going to see about it in detail. And then we are also seeing about the social, the research fields in anthropology, how these thinkers got all those, what are the methods through which they made this research. Okay, one is through field work. The second is through the distinction between technique, method, and methodology. We're going to see all those data and types, just like schedules, questionnaire, case study, genealogy, life history, oral history. All these are the methods of research methods. So which we're going to see will take around 6 hours to complete this particular thing. So then comes the human genetics. So human genetics, this is the area which we are again entering into the physical anthropology part. So this is a quick, it's a pretty big area. So here we are again going into the school concepts. So we are going to study about certain things about human genetics. So what is this gene, and what is this method of analysis, pedigree analysis, twin study, foster child method, co-twin method, cytogenetic method. We're going to see that chromosomal and karyotypic analysis. We're going to see about all of this. So this is the continuation of to be your Greek and Latins again. Okay. And then we're going to speak about the Mendel's theories, Mendelian genetics, and his findings and all. And then comes the concept of genetic polymorphism, how this concept of genetic polymorphism influenced the society in today's human. So all this concept of mutation, isolation, migration, and all these things we're going to see it in anthro. And one more about this chromosomes and chromosomal aberrations. All these, it was covered in the 10th standard itself. This Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome, super female, and all these autosomal aberration, Down syndrome, all of this you'll be seeing here. Just these are like just like your school things, just like at 10th standard level. We are not going to go deeper into this. So this is what UPSC also needs. So next comes this race and racism. So again, we are entering into this connectivity between the physical anthropology towards the social anthropology. This is where we connect the concept of race and racism. Is this race and racism is a myth? So this has been a popular question always. Is race a myth? Okay, so we'll be seeing all those what came to the concept of myth, and what is the racial criteria and their traits and all. So then comes to this concept of age, sex, and population. So what is this blood groups and all physiological characteristic, all of those we'll be having certain technical classes. So then comes the concept of ecological anthropology, how this anthropology is affecting the environment. So we'll be having a holistic study. So we start from this evolution. Not only we start with evolution, we gone with social, cultural, linguistic, and now so environmental. We also saw the economic and today's concept of epidemiological anthropology. Today, you know, this world is locked down with the corona crisis, and how this epidemic has transformed into a pandemic. Okay, how this human is coping up with this. So this year, there is a particular question whenever you attend this examination of this, it will be definitely interlinked with this coronavirus disease, and how human is capable of tackling this particular disease. You are going to have along this. So next we're going to see certain part about how this concept of human growth and development took place, and the stages of growth. That is prenatal, a baby is born, a natal, an infant, okay, childhood, adolescence, maturity. How do we classify all these? This is going to be pretty simple unit, an easy unit. So what are the types in these all these stages? What are the factors affect those growth and genetic development, etc., etc., and the certain theories we are going to see about this. We are also going to see about the human physique and somatotypes. Around 3 somatotypes we're going to see it. And then the 11th unit comes here as the relevance of menarche or menopause and their events to fertility, how this fertility patterns go there, and certain demographic theories and biological and social ecological factors influencing all those things: fecundity, fertility, natality, and mortality. See, till here, I would tell that you would think that chapter 1 and 9 are the toughest area, but these two areas classified as the physical part. Okay, and this two area till I could also include 10 and 11 here, but this 10 and 11 is going to be more so theoretical, and this is the area which science is playing a big role here. So certain things will be new for those people who haven't having a biology background. For them this would be, but what how I have designed the courses, it will be we'll speak about those design of the course in the later part, but still go on with it. So next we're going to see about the applications of anthropology. That is how this anthropology affects in sports, what is in nutrition, how it does in forensic, how it does in dispense, and how that does that influence in this personal identification reconstruction. Today we are using Aadhaar as a source of identity everywhere. So that all this, how this concept of anthropology helps in this personal identification, all those things which are going to see. And this sums up the paper 1. So this paper 1 is a pretty lengthy paper, and this particular lengthy paper will be taking 3/4 of the time to cover this, or I would tell that 2/3 of the time would be covered, will be utilized to cover this paper 1. So next comes this Indian anthropology and tribal anthropology. This is going to be, see, in the paper 1 we are going to study about the world and the generalists. Here we are just going to apply it in India. See, in 1.8, you would have seen this period of prehistoric, Paleo, Meso, Neolithic, and Chalcolithic age. That we are just going to apply it into Indian context. There we would have seen the world context. Here we are just going to see about the Indian context. Excuse me. Okay. Next, we are going to see about the Indus Valley civilization and what happens to this pre-Harappan, post-Harappan, and all. So this is a pretty thing which is linked with your history. So this part is also I call it as archaeological anthropology. So then we are going to explore it about the Paleolithic age, and then ethnoarchaeology in India. What is the concept of ethnoarchaeology? How these people survive in hunting, foraging? So this is the economic anthropology in India. This is what we can do it. Okay. So then we are going to speak about the demographic profile of India. So how these Indian people are classified under this particular unit is going to be helping you while you are administrator at any part of the country. So without knowing this thing, you wouldn't have an idea what kind of people they are, where your what kind of language they speak, and what kind of tribal societies are split here. So this is what you're going to see here. So in the second unit. And third is the certain features which are specific for Indian anthropology. So certain things which India is influenced with. The first system is concept of the rebirth, the Rina, the concept of karma, and the concept of this Varnashram and Purushartha. All these concepts which influence the traditional Indian social system. Okay, we are also going to see this evolution of this caste system and what is this dominant caste, caste mobility, and future of caste system, and certain important exercises like Jajmani system, tribal caste continuum, and all we are going to see about it, and how this man is linked with the Almighty, nature, man, spirit complex. So this is going to be a pretty interesting unit, and the impact of the religion on the Indian society, like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity, the non-Hindu religions, which we are going to see it. So then comes this fourth unit, which is the, as you saw in that first paper, sixth unit, you're going to see this fourth unit. This is about the development of growth of anthropology in India. We're going to see about the Indian anthropologists. There are around 10 people of them. So this particular 10 people of them, we'll be using them in both paper 1 and paper 2. So all those will be integrated here and there. So then we enter into the concept of village. So how this village came. So what is the significance of village study in India? How this village acts as a social system in India, and traditional changing patterns of settlement and the intercaste regions and all those related to village. And then again, we're coming to linguistic and religious minorities and their social, political, and economic status in India. Then we are also seeing about the indigenous, exogenous, social cultural change in Indian society, along with few interesting concepts like Sanskritization, Westernization, and modernization. All these three things have influenced Indian society completely. So how this concept of Indian society, this concept influences us, and how this is going to change the value of the people in this world. So this is what we're going to see here. And we're also going into Panchayat Raj and social change and media and social change, how this is entering. So this is a pretty part which is going to be interrelated with your GS syllabus. So this your paper two is a maximum having a correlation with your GS syllabus. So then comes this tribal anthropology. The next 4 units which are going to say is tribal anthropology. So yeah, this unit is going to be a very interesting unit for the people who like to be exploring India. So all those tribal how this tribal people are there, how they are classified, and what are the problems of tribal communities, and what are the developmental projects and the impact of the tribal people, and all of them will be having a deep discussion. So, and also we are coming into these parts of the scheduled people, that is scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and OBC people. What are the problems and exploitation, deprivation, and what are the constitutional safeguards for them? So this is completely interrelated with the polity in GS part. So this interlinks with the polity paper 2. So this all this links there, and social and contemporary changes in the tribal society. So this is the most interesting part, which you would see that what happened to the tribal societies at today's state. So there were around more than 1,000 tribes and 1,000 varieties of tribes, and today we couldn't name at least 10 of them. So what happened to them? What is happening in today's globalized era? So all of them we are being going to see it. So the concept of ethnicity in the tribal people. So we are just going to apply the paper one and paper two. So impact of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity in the tribal societies. In the third unit, you would have seen that it is the impact on the 3.4. You would be seeing it in the Indian society. Here, specifically on the tribal society, you will be seeing, and then how this tribe confines with the nation state. How this India as a political system is cooperating with the tribals. Okay, it's we are going to do that unit also, and history and administration of tribal areas, tribal policies. We are going to see about pre-British rules and after British rules and today's rules. We're going to see the concept of PVTGs and the role of NGOs in tribal development, and the role of anthropology in tribal and rural development. And that last is the last unit, contribution of anthropology in understanding the regionalism, communalism, and ethnic and political movements. So this is what is related to the society part in GS paper 1. So you have, I could tell you certain parts of GS1, GS2, and certain social part. See, this is a linkage of sociology, right? So social part in essays can be covered in Anthro. So together I have designed exhaustively for 60 hours. It may be around 240 to 260 hours. This is how we are going to take the course, right? So this is what I have planned. So this is the detailed split up of the course, and I've read every word in the syllabus. So you would think that this is the biggest syllabus, sir. No other subject has this kind of syllabus. See, this is the brief explanation of the syllabus. So I'll be showing you certain questions in random, so that you would see that no other word which we seen in the syllabus will not, no question which appears in the question paper will not be coming outside from this syllabus. So this is a very detailed syllabus. So there are certain concepts in which we're going to see it, how we are going to approach this anthro, right? So I have two things, two pedagogies. One, I would, it is this completely, I'm going to leave it to the students, right? To the batch friends. So I would be completely leaving. I have two methods how to take this subject. So this subject is very precise. So first one, we'll be having 240 hours to 260 hours of class. So how do we approach this? This is like an online batch. So I'll be telling about all those in the course details in the later slides. So how do we approach this particular syllabus is, so you know at paper one and paper two here. So this paper one, I'll be spending around 2/3 of the time for paper one, and 1/3 of the time to paper three, paper two, because this is how the syllabus has been defined. So paper two is going to be very quick, and the paper one is going to be a little exhaustive here. So based on this, what I'm going to do is either I would follow the syllabus in the given manner. I would start from 1.1 to 12, and I would start again from 1.1 to 9.3. So this is one method, right? I'll go according to the syllabus. So this is one of the method. This is how we can approach. Or I have one more method in which certain concepts I'll start from 1.2, 1.3, 1.2 to 1.3. I'll start it, and directly I'll jump to the socio-cultural part, and we'll finish 2 to 8. And parallelly, we'll be having 6th unit in theories. So while we have this, you'll have a better insight of all those what is happening here and there. So that way we complete the social part. And then I would start from the unit 9.1. So I would come till 9.4, then jump to 10, and then start from 9.5 to 9.8, and jump to 11, sorry, here I would jump to 12, then here 10, 11, and again I would come to 1.4 till 1.7. So this is what I can do it. So 1.8 will be covered in the middle, and 1.9.1 itself will be covered. So by this, I can take completely a physical part, and 1.8 in the first paper, 1.1 to 1.3 in the second paper. These are the archaeological anthro. This I'll definitely have a single class, so that we are finishing by compartment. Socio is finished, physical is finished, and archaeology is finished. Then I would start with Indian in paper 2, then with tribal. So this we'll have as a two things as a discussion with the students who those opt for anthropology. This is completely up to them. So how we are going to approach, but I would definitely take it in a very interesting manner and in a interrelated with your syllabus. So this is what I'm going to make it in anthro. Okay. So this is up to them, and after you join the course, and it is up to you, and it is who you're going to decide. It is you people are going to decide. We'll make a poll, and through that we are going to have this approach of the syllabus, how we are going to do it. So this is one thing which I want to tell it to you, right? And so this is the test syllabus. So your course is an integral part of test syllabus. Your test is integrated with this course itself. The first test will be comprising this. As I told you, I would have class 1.2. This will be social part. This also will be social part. This will be the theory. And next we are going into the archaeological part. And then we are coming into the physical part. So all these will be having physical part of paper 1. Then we are jumping into the paper 2. This is Indian anthropology, and then this is tribal. So this is what we're going to do, and this is the 8 split test will be, you'll be having 8 split tests, and you'll be having 2 full paper tests. Okay, so this is what I've designed the syllabus. The date of the tests and all will be defined detailedly while we are doing the course. So this is what I've designed it. So even after your completion of course, there will be tests every week. Okay, this is by the end of your syllabus, you will be having 12 tests, and after that, every month or every 2 weeks, we'll be having certain tests, maybe full paper or that we'll decide later on. So okay, so what I do is, till you get into these mains examination, I hope all are going to attend this mains examination by 2021, so that the mains examination will be held as of now. The tentative dates is around January 2022. Your mains will be appearing for mains by Jan 2022. So I would completely give my support till that date. You need not worry until you appear for your first mains. I'll be there to completely give your coaching and all. So this is the part, why anthropology, or what makes anthropology so special among others. The first part is, there is no need of definite academic background, so that you can choose this. For example, if a candidate is choosing mathematics, you definitely need some certain background in mathematics, or an engineer you have to do. Since this is a science option, so a lot of people from the science background or the engineering, nowadays, a lot of people from engineering are choosing this particular choice, or from medical science, anything related to medical. Certain people with the MBBS, they do not opt for medical science optional, they come for anthro. So this anthropology optional does not need a definite academic background of a particular candidate. It can be anybody who can do with this, and this has availability of good guidance here, and it has excellent study material also, and the ease of syllabus completion. So this one particular thing regarding this anthro optional is, it can be covered in around to be short, we can also complete in 200 hours. To be elaborate, you can complete in 250 hours, whereas certain other options will take minimum 300 hours to complete. So certain options like history or geography will definitely take time to complete at least 300 hours. So this is one of the plus point for people. So this ease of syllabus completion is in these many hours. So it's a wonderful journey of study, and it's going to be a very interesting type of study. And this helps out in GS paper, which I've explained there, GS and essay papers, with a different perspective and knowledge to have an edge on the competition. See, any student who's writing a society paper in GS paper 1, or the social justice paper in GS paper 2, can easily answer with the newspapers. But while an anthropology student answer this, he has a different insight of the issue. So he can think into the issue. So that particular issue can be well understood by this person. So this is how it is going to be helping you in the essay paper and the GS paper with a different edge over others. Because see, this examination, while you're writing for mains examinations, we around 10,000 people would appear for mains. So you know that out of this 10,000 people, 99% are a qualified one, right? So 99.99, I would suppose. So all these people are very qualified, and they would like to show their difference in those answer sheets. So this anthropology optional will give you a different insight of the things which you are coming across in the daily newspapers also. So that thought will help you to give you a different answer, which will make you stand apart from the others. So next, which we see is it is having a predefined question practice sets. See, I can conclude anthropology with around 150 questions. So you've seen syllabus for around 4 pages. This 4 pages can be classified into 150 questions. So this 150 questions I'll be sharing with you while you're doing your course. So I'll speak about that in the course details later on. So every unit will be given with the previous year question, also with the questions which are about to come or expected questions. We'll be dealing with that. So this one thing is not a peculiar characteristic of any other optional but anthropology. So it is having a consistency in question paper since a decade. You can start your question paper analysis from 2007 to 2019. You have a predefined consistent question paper in which the questions do not arise out of nowhere. It always comes inside your syllabus, right? This particular thing, you will not have any kind of surprise questions in anthropology where you will go there in that particular 3 hours of time. You should have a certain knowledge about those things which you're going to answer, and you need not think there are a lot to and create answers there. So here anthropology will definitely give you a certain set of answers where you can write all those answers easily, and we'll be seeing about the question pattern here. So you know about this, and at least top 10 people and top 100 for last 5 years. So this is why that is made anthropology optional as a more popular optional in these last 4 to 5 years. So I would not want to quote any of the toppers here. So you can analyze by yourself, so that at least 10 and top 100 will be there from this particular optional. So this maximum from the predictable area, the question comes around 85% to 95% will be from this predictable area. You itself during the course preparation, you can easily predict this will be the question. So you can be with a ready answer so that you can make a good presentation in your mains examination. So the scoring analysis of previous years will prove it. Like I have not included any name. So this was the topmost mark 362 in 2019 last year. So this is around 314. So this is around 339. So this is around 318. So this is around 283. So this is around 332. So all this, see, scoring 200 is very simple with this option. You need not do anything, just attend the classes, go just write whatever you observed it. It's very simple to get 200 marks here in both combined in 500. But to get 300 plus, it is as tough as it is as practice is required as you're reading for any other optional. So this is the one which I would tell. This scoring this 100 marks is your way. So this 100 mark scoring, I would be helping you with the consistent materials, the required materials, the required method of answering. So required method of testing will be given, and it is you who have to incorporate in them in your answer writing. So this is the highest possible score which we have seen. So now we are going to see the sample previous year question papers. So simply see, everything would be directly from your syllabus. See, bipedalism, we saw this in 1.5. How this bipedalism gives into erect posture. This is for 20 marks. So I will click, I've given the question very randomly. So how did Radcliffe Brown and Levi-Strauss study kinship in terms of social structure? This is what is from the 6th unit. So elucidate Mesolithic structure and associated rock art with examples from India. This particular question, you can write it even now. If you have if you completed the first unit in history, you can start with. But in anthropology, you need to answer it in a different method that you would be knowing while we are speaking in the course. So this is what. So another one. See the contributions of Victor Turner and Clifford Geertz in anthropology. This is again from the 6th unit, the theory unit. So this is human adaptations are always biocultural in nature. See, this is the question which I spoke while explaining you today, the gender. the first slide, where the earlier slide while I was explaining you, this is one of the examples which I gave here, but the question is different here. The question is asking about the human adaptation in the high altitude climate. How this human, this you will be knowing about in the 11th unit. So the people like people from the Europe or people from the northernmost parts of the world are always tall. They are fair with a long nose. People from southernmost part of the world, they have a dark skin. They are short and stout. They are with more muscles than others. So why this human adaptation is taking place? So all such type of questions we are going to see. So discuss methods of studying human growth and their merits and demerits. So this is also from the 11th unit. So that you will be knowing about it. So now I'm going to the paper 2. So paper 2, the same like in the first part. So where you saw this one in the paper 1 theories in the 6th unit, here you're seeing the 4th unit, Iravati Karve and P.S. Guha. So then this is a very simple question. Even you can now you can answer this. What has been the impact of development projects of the environment and livelihood of forest dwelling tribes? So this is a persistent issue which is taking place in this country because of the dam projects or the developmental projects which you can see, and the rehabilitation of the forest dwelling tribes have been affected. And this 2006 act has also been speaking about the forest dwelling tribes and all of this which are going to see it, the tribal issues. So, and identify some special programs for PVTGs. This is a very simple question. It's related to a GS2. Any person from GS2 can answer this. But here, what makes you different from this GS2 paper and anthropology is by your examples. The examples of these PVTG tribal groups, the case studies which you give will enhance you more than others. So then discuss the appropriate examples how tribal unrest may be understood as an emerging out of incompatibility between tribes and the nation state. So now the earlier question and this question has a more correlation that the tribes and nation state is not being in correlated or in a coherent manner, so that there is a lot of differentiation of opinion and ideologies are there, which is leading to unrest, tribal unrest. So what are the reasons? And what can the reasons, how can they be solved? So all these things which you're going to see here. And then what has been the impact of non-Hindu religions in the emancipation of scheduled castes in India? So all of those directly from this syllabus which I showed you there in the 7th chapter, so 7.3 I suppose. So directly it has been here. The same word which you see in the syllabus is the question. That means that as of now you would have come to a conclusion that there is just a requirement of 200 to 300 words everywhere in the word of the syllabus. If you take a line from the syllabus, it just requires 200 to 300 words because you're answering for 15 to 20 marks. So this 20 marks will be for 300 words, 15 will be for around 250 words, and 10 marks will be for around 150 words. So this is what you will have to make a crisp and precise notes for just for 200 to 300 words. That means every word in your syllabus is not going to be more than 2 to 3 pages, which makes anthropology as one of the most interesting and one of the more compact optional than others, right? So, and the last question you can write, even now if you completed the polity chapter, what are the constitutional safeguards to protect the interest of Indian tribes? So all those articles related to tribe protection, you can mention it right from your fundamental rights, start from Article 1 till those Article 338B, right? Till that NCSC, National NCST, sorry. So National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. So till that you will have to write all those and all those things related to that, and also include Panchayat Raj, PESA Act. So how this, all these things which you can go on today itself. Okay, so this is all which I was speaking about the positive side and the explanation about anthro here, and why you should not choose anthropology is because it must be because of these two reasons, these 3 to 4 reasons. Physical anthropology is not my cup of tea, sir. I cannot come with these words like genes, mutation, and all these theories based on Lamarck's theory and all those. I do not like it, sir. I've hated it in my school itself. So I do not want to go for this. If you're finding physical anthropology is tough for you, and I insist you before learning that, see, we are not going to explore it completely. If you have a certain question named as DNA, you're just going to draw a diagram like this, double standard diagram. You're just going to write these components in DNA, adenine, guanine, cytokine, thymine, all those you're going to write it. So just like a 200 word. That's it. So if you do not want to go with the physical anthropology, I tell you no, because this physical anthropology is going to be one of the scoring areas. Because one thing in anthropology has a defined set of answer key. Whereas the other optional, you have to derive this answer key in which it has to be a good presentation with, and it should be incoherent or correlated with your evaluator's mindset also. But here in anthropology, you have defined set of answers. So that defined set of answers will be expected, and that is easy to provide there, and easily you can get the marks. This is just like half mathematics here. So you have these type of keywords, so definitely you get marks. So that type of option is anthro. So I can never memorize a subject, sir. So I never like to memorize, so I am not going to choose anthro, because anthropology is 50% memorizing. Because most of the things from physical anthropology or the case studies or the tribals which you're going to see, you have to memorize it. But this memorizing thing just come out of your application. This is not like just the next point which I'm going to do. So I just need marks by memorizing alone. That is also not going to help you. So I'll just mug it up and I'll go vomit. No, that is not going to help, because all these things which you memorize, it must be applied. So that application thing will come only when you understand the deeper concepts of anthropology is. So, and at last, if you've already chosen another option, never come here. Okay. So stick with that particular option, which I always tell you, always stick with that. And if you do not like, sir, I've given a try, I did not get mark, I'm about to try for this, then you come here. You do not have a dilemma over here. This is what you're going to see about anthro. So I've always told you, optional is your partner. So choosing your optional is going to help for your whole career of civil service examination. So wisely choose your partner so that you would have a better life ahead. So this is the course detail, which I'll be very quick. So the course I plan to start at 2nd of July coming 2020. So 2nd of July, the course will be either 11 a.m. or 6:30 p.m. That we'll finalize later. Okay. So either two of these slots we will be having, and it's a complete online program, and it is weekly 4 days. I've classified 4 days of class, in which each will be 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay, I would like to plan every week. Initially, we'll be having 4 days of classes that may extend to 5 in the later period, right? So this is what we are about to start. We are starting by July, and we try to. Regular timing will be discussed later on. Okay, what is the timings are always. So this is because of this timings is based on a lot of other parameters, so that we'll come to a conclusion thereafter. Okay, one test every week, making one complete revision, right? Before, once you finish this course with me, so what you'll do is you will be at least reading those things earlier itself. So one revision process will be done. So we'll be having split tests, lot of split tests. Apart from those tests which I told you, you'll be having a lot of split tests, and this test every week, or this answer writing practice will be there. So I call this as answer writing practice than test. Okay, don't worry with this word test, right? So this answer writing practice will be there. So this answer writing practice, that will be a live session. So together this makes 5 sessions here. So a longer time, this will be +1 will be added. To complete the syllabus, for the sake of completion, we'll be having more classes there. So this is how we are going to plan it. So certain sessions will be recorded in the static area, and those recording will be done in the every week. It is not like we have done it earlier and just we are streaming it to you. So we'll be having those recorded sessions on static area. So one day you'll be having recorded, one day you'll be having live, recorded, live. So this is how the classes I'm planning to take this, and again one live session for answer discussion, how to approach this question. So this is how it is going to be. So live doubt clearing will be there at the end of the recorded session or the next day. Since you are having the live class in the next day, you'll be having this live. Maximum may come in this end of the recorded sessions. Maximum will come there. We'll be having alternative sessions every time. So previous year question analysis on every session. After every unit is completed, after 1.1 is completed till the 9.3 is completed, paper 1 to 3. So I'll 1 and 2. I'll be giving you those previous year questions of the last 5 to 10 years. Okay, so based on that, you will have an insight that this is what it's going to be asked. And even before starting the class, we'll have a look on those. Before starting the class today, so we'll have a look on the previous question. So you'll get an insight about, oh, this is what they're asking about this particular area. Then we'll discuss the unit, And again, we'll come back to previous question. We'll check it whether you can answer with the content which I've delivered it to you. So with this particular content, I can easily answer this particular area, sir. So that is what we're going to. This is how the class is being designed. So then one more thing which I want to tell you is understanding the concepts is the key answer to an area. Here in the classroom, I'd be discussing more with, I'd be concentrating more on making you to understand those concepts than by dictating you notes. Okay, I'd make you to explain those concepts, and all those notes will be uploaded in your platform. Okay, so materials and PPT will be provided in this mega exams platform. Certain things will be downloadable. Certain things you will have to access on online itself, right? And you cannot take any kind of screenshot or reproduce any of those. And certain materials will be printable also. Okay, certain things like PPTs and handouts will be printable for ease of access. Okay, so this is how we are going to do it. And this is for certain people. I don't think this rule which I prepared is not going to apply for this. For those who are going to go for April CSE 2020 mains, if they are going, if you are going to write this year's mains, you're applying for prelims, if you're going for mains. So what I will do is cover the 80% syllabus before prelims, that is before October 4. If there are a lot of students from this, see, this is completely based on the students batch. Okay, so I cannot take a decision on my own. Based on the students, I can classify this. So if there is any candidate, even one candidate is there who is going to apply for this particular mains, so what I will do is I will try to complete the 80% of the syllabus by October, and the 20% of the syllabus after prelims, that is by November. So we're starting by July, so we'll be ending by November. Okay, why I'm making this is the first thing is before your prelims, you will not have classes for around 20 days because you have to prepare for prelims. So at that particular time, I may not want you to come to this Anthro class and make yourself here. So what I'll do is just we'll stop the class there, and those particular class will be continued here, right? One more thing is to keep you in touch with Anthro. Keep touch with optional every day. See, every day this optional must take part in your studies. See, this is how you can classify. One is your studies with the GS can be classified into static area, then GS current affairs area, third one is optional. See, one complete day of study must comprise all these three. So these three must be there in every day of your preparation, so that your preparation is maintained in a standard manner and you will be having touch with everything. So for this third one, for the first till your syllabus is completed, you will be having classes. So that makes you to be in touch with optional. And in the due course, will be also be studying for tests and all, so that you will be completely having one complete revision before you go out of this batch. Okay, and after that, I will be regularly updating you with this. So we'll be starting a separate group for this Anthro in the Telegram. So all those people who are opting for this option will be having a separate group. Every day you'll be having answer practice after we complete this option, so that you'll be till you write the mains examination. This is going to be a routine exercise. Okay, till you write a mains examination, we are about to have this routine exercise. So there will be paper correction, and paper correction will also be given to you. So every day we'll be writing 1 or 2 questions. So what I want to do is, see, I've told you initially, the Anthro can be confined with the 150 to 200 questions maximum. So both the paper 1 and 2. So while we confine this both 150 to 200 questions, in the due course of date, if you write, I'll stick to one question every day. See, one question, if you start writing notes and making a better presentation for this particular question, at the end of completion of your syllabus and after, before you go for your mains examination in the year 2021, you will definitely have this particular 150 to 200 questions with your class notes and the method of answer also. In the question answer manner also you'll be having that, and also in the class notes method also you'll be having two things. So you can compare this and that and study. So what I want is this 200 questions must be having your predefined answers. Just have those things and add current affairs then and there. Okay, I'll be explaining you how to take notes in the classes also. That will be in the very first class. We will have a brief introduction, how to make notes and how to utilize these online classes, how to use this for your future. So this is how it will be there. So test dates will be announced. And those people who are attending for 2021 mains, do not worry, you have ample amount of time. So I would like to take this as a very slow and steady manner, because as of now, the coaching is going in online. So first of all, I want you guys to adapt to this environment. Second one, I do not want you to rush up with the syllabus. It is possible for me to complete the anthropology syllabus in 3 months. That is, if I have classes every day, I can complete this 240 sessions every day, 3 hours of session. I can simply complete it in 80 days. But I do not want you guys to be rushed and pushed also. I want you to understand it in a very slow and steady manner, so that once you've done this syllabus, you have a very clear knowledge about anthropology. And once you go out of the class, you should have that particular ideology very clear, right? So for that thing, I'm making this into a course of 5 months, right? We'll take a break every day, right? Every week we'll have a break. We'll be having 5 working days. 2 days you take a rest. Be keep your thoughts away from anthropology. So all these we'll be doing. So live feedback sessions will be there for tests. After every tests, I'll be coming there, and we'll be having those answer discussions and everything there. And this one, I guarantee you, complete guidance till you appear for the mains examination, right? Any right? So this is the fee structure. So you can go join your course at any time, and I think you'd be given the access to the course only after you have paid the fees. So go for it. Go to the website kingmakersIASacademy.com, or go to the institutes, the branches which are nearby for you. So you can go there and put your admission there. That's it. And if anything, just contact a mentor. He would help you. Right. So any more doubts, you can ping me regarding anthro optional. So any kind of dilemma, so this is my contact. And since a lot of students are from batch 1 of this year, so I would tell that as they know this is my contact, as I'm the mentor. So any question and answers, I'm open for question and answers now. So I have not discussed the book list for Anthro. So sorry, I forgot that slide before I finish that, and then come to this question and answer part. So first one, we'll be starting with physical anthropology with P-Nath. Socio-cultural anthropology by Madan and Majumdar. Indian anthropology by Nadim Hasnain. Fourth one, tribal anthropology by Nadim Hasnain. Anthropological thoughts, theories by Makanja. And apart from this, so this is going to be reference material. The one thing, you need not buy any notes. If you're joining this course, you need not buy any notes. All these notes, see, these are all reference books. Or if you just want to study apart from which I've told you in this class, you can go there and check it out, right? And apart from this, what I am going to refer you is, these will be the standard books. Certain books which I can, Sapiens, and very important book I just missed out, Ember and Ember, Anthropology, Cultural Anthropology by Ember and Ember. This you can have a read about why this human evolution, and you'd certain people would love their life, certain people would hate it, right? So that's according to their taste. Sapiens, just try it. Okay, so this one, and I'll be referring the IGNO notes. Since I'm pursuing my MA in anthropology, so I'll be doing this IGNO in Anthro. So all those notes I'll be combining here. So all these I'll be referring to it, and the certain notes of leading institutes, right? Other institutes also from all those Delhi and Hyderabad notes. So I'll be referring it all. So you need not worry that whatever I provide you, it's a comprehensive note. So this is the comprehensive note which I am also going to use, so that it will be a complete package. So just study these notes, and if at all, if you want to see certain things, I would just give you the reference link. Just go here and see there, and you will be also given with a lot of videos. Lot of case studies will be given. So every social cultural part will have 1 or 2 videos at least. So I'll be giving those videos in the YouTube link. I'll be posting it in the Telegram group or any other things. So you'll be having a lot of different methodologies of study. So once if you watch these videos only, you can come and understand the concepts which I'm going to speak in those classes. So a lot of things will be there. So this will be the methods to study. So now I'm open for question and answer. Oh my God. Wait, I'd be coming from beginning. Okay, what are the books which will be cover the entire syllabus of anthropology, and suggest some websites to get the free PDF, so get the free PDF of it. Okay, I'll be sharing thereafter, but you need not go with all those. The syllabus, see, one thing regarding anthropology is there is no one definite book. The whole syllabus is scattered in different books. So if you are taking the burden of studying those books, you need not join this course at all, right? So don't waste your time while you're going with the optionals. So it'll make you to do a lot of research over there. So I've listed all those here. You can just type PDF in Google. Definitely you can get it, right? So with all the 8 slip test and 2 full paper test, will we be fully thorough with the concepts? Yeah, definitely. And I will also be including you a lot of tests thereafter. So you need not worry if you are appearing for 2020 or 2021. I planned for 2020. What I told you is if you are doing for 2020, I'll be completing the syllabus by November. So if the syllabus is completed by November, you'll be having 2 months. By October end, I'll be completing it. So you'll be having 2 months, November and December, while you go for the mains examination. If the examination is scheduled accordingly as of the recent notification of UPSC. So in that 2 months also, you'll be having weekly tests. If not, if you're appearing for 2021, you'll be having continuous tests and daily tests and all. So you need not worry. So repeated revision will be there. Okay. Sorry, I've come to the next slide. You're a zoology graduate, but syllabus for that is huge, and it will take a lot of effort to complete paper and remember them. Anthropology has a lot of topics which I am interested in. I feel I can do better in anthro. So what do you suggest? How do I choose between the two? So kindly ping me, which is the number which I gave you the previous. This is the number. This is my number. You can call me there and come to a conclusion. Right? Then. So can we join by the end of December month? It's up to you. We don't know. We are going to start another batch again by December or not. Maybe by December time we would shift to offline. So we do not have any particular ideology about December. So it's up to you. So this is what we are going to do. And now it is based on the year which you're going to appear for the examination. If you're going to appear for by 2022, I would recommend you to join now itself, because in this 1 year you can completely learn things, and in the next year you can completely revise things. So that is what I can tell you. It's up to you, Ramya. If you're about to write for 2021, better you finish it now itself. Do not late it. Do not delay it. Okay. 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 This is these many questions been received. If you have any other type of questions, you can just ask. Or shall we end the session? It's been around 7:30. If you can end it, just tell yes or no. Yeah, fine. Okay. Thank you, Ramya. I think we can end it. And this is what the next webinar is on. The next webinar is on 100-day strategy to unleash prelims. So you can register this next day morning, 10 o'clock, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. So go for it. And the upcoming webinar series, these are the upcoming things. You can go with this GS analysis and prelims question analysis of CSAT. Editorial made easy will be given, and art of presentation and importance of personality test, most popular myths in civil services, and mains paper analysis also about to come, GS 1, 2, 3, 4, and how to eliminate wrong answers, 150% prelims, 150, all these, and the time management in prelims hall, mains hall, and prepare for language papers. So approach for optional, all of these. Okay. So other than anthro, which I've discussed, all these geography, bad, political science, Tamil literature, psychology, history, PSIR. So these all would come again. So this is the all of these importance of communication skills, how to fill up your DAF, okay, and difference between UPSC, SPSC, and all of this. So I'd like to thank you all. coming to this particular lecture. Thank you. Thank you a lot.